This AI agent uses MCP to tweet the latest AI news on Autopilot. How does it do that? Well, it has access to the internet through a web browser MCP node and to Twitter through Twitter MCP node. Now, this is an example of a tweet that it created based on what it found in the news and then trending tweets. So, in today's video, I'm going to show you how to do this and step by step how to create it. So let's get into it. Just before we start building, let me give you a brief overview of MCP if you don't know much about it. Well, normally what would happen is your LLM inside your AI agent would be connected to tools, and each of these tools would be some sort of API call type thing. For example, it could be send DMs, it could be like tweets, it could be reply to tweets, it could be to tweet, blah blah blah, right? And the problem here is that you would have to A, know all of these beforehand, and B, you'd have to program them all in separately, which is annoying and takes ages. So MCPs solve this by encapsulating all of these inside a list command and then having another ability to execute any command. So what happens then is that you're able to remove all of these pointers, and instead you can connect your LLM purely to the list function and to the execute function, and then dynamically pull in these whenever you need them and the information about them, and then use them and execute them. So it simplifies the entire process, and that's how we're going to use it today. So we're going to do a step-by-step guide in n8n. So the first thing you have to do before you start is this has to be running on localhost because we're going to be using MCP nodes. Now, if you've never used them before, I do advise following my video, which is how to create your first ever MCP agent, because I'm expecting you have a little bit of knowledge here. Now, I do have videos on it, they'll be linked below, but also in our school community, Applied AI, we take you from knowing absolutely nothing to AI agents. Now, it's free for the first 7 days, so, if you don't like it, you don't have to do it. But we have step-by-step tutorials for every single thing I'm going to talk about today, because I'm going to skim over how to do API calls, etc., because I expect you to know them. If you don't, follow the course and get up to speed. So, without further ado, let's get into the video. So, our first step here, we're going to do on chat message, so it's going to be like a chat bot, but we could do it on schedule. So we could have this trigger, every 4 hours to generate a tweet for us. So just tweet on autopilot. But we're going to do it on chat because then we can actually chat with the agent to test it all out. So if we click open chat here, let me reset this session. And then we say something like hi. You see that we're not connected to anything, so we don't get any response. So instead, let's click plus and we'll click advanced AI, AI agent. And in here, we then have this AI agent. So we can then write hi again, but you'll see that nothing happens because we must choose a model. For our model, we're going to use OpenAI. So you see there's a bunch of models here. Again, I'll discuss more about this in the school community, but we're going to use OpenAI. And from here, we want to connect it to our OpenAI API. And we're going to use 4o Mini. Then we'll have that here, and that's connected. So now, if we say hi, it will be able to talk to us. Now, the only problem now is that we can talk to it, but it doesn't have any memory. So it's not like ChatGPT. If I say, what was my last message, it will have no idea. And so the way to fix that is to add a memory, and we're going to use a simple memory. So this is one which you don't have to set anything up. You just click and go. And the good thing about this is that then you click and go. But the bad thing is you'll lose the memory if you reset the session, which I suppose is good and bad. So now if I said what was my last message, it will actually know that my last message would be last message. Let's see. It's saying it doesn't. But if I say my name is Luke, and then I say what's my name, it will know that my name's Luke. There you go. So that's its memory. If I disconnect this and send the same thing, it will have no idea. So the internet's just not as open and simple as it used to be. Some content's restricted by location, websites are tracking your every move, and managing multiple online accounts can feel impossible without getting flagged. So whether you're trying to browse privately, access geo-blocked content, or securely manage multiple accounts, you need a tool that gives you full control over your online identity, and that's where Go Login comes in. Go Login isn't just about privacy, it's about freedom. security, and control over your online experience. And here's what makes it different. You can unblock any content, access restricted sites, streaming platforms and services from anywhere. It's a full digital privacy, so unlike regular browsers, GoLogin stops websites from tracking you. There's multi-account management, so you can easily switch between different profiles for work, social media, or business. You can work securely from anywhere, so you can share accounts with your team without even having to share passwords. There's no IP bans, no tracking, so GoLogin, it hides more than just your location. It protects your entire online identity. And the best bit is you get 2 gig of free residential proxies included. If you want privacy, security, and complete online freedom, GoLogin is the tool you need. Try it for free today by clicking the link in the description. So we now have our basic AI chatbot agent set up, which is cool. So the next thing we want to do is add some tools. For tools here, we want to add MCP, so the MCP client tool. If you don't have it, and I've suggested you go and watch the other video, but briefly what you can do is 3 dots, settings, let's save that actually, and then in here, community nodes, and you want to install this n8n nodes MCP. And also there is a variable that you want to change from false to true, which is to use community nodes as tools. But that will be in the other video, or in the school community. So I'll put it in the comments since I'm a nice guy. So we have the MCP client here, and what this now, if we open it up, is we connect it to some credential. So for example, I have a bunch here that I've added in from testing. Airtable, which is just like a database. Brave Search we're going to use today, which is to search the web. GitHub, Gmail, Google Drive, another database, Twitter. And then you have a tool description and an operation. So normally you have a tool name and a tool description. Now that's because you want the AI agent to be able to figure out what your tool is, right? So that it can use it. And it uses natural language, so you have to give it solid language for it to comprehend it. So in here, we just let that automatically be described, and we're going to select list tools as the operation. So our MCP client, this one is going to be the list tool, so it's going to be this portion. So we're going to create a list, and we're going to create an execute one as well. So we have the list one, credentials, let's click create new credential, and so here it's different to normal. We don't have an API key, we have a command, an argument, and an environment section to fill out. So where do we get this information? Well, if we go on to the model context protocol GitHub, and then go into servers here, this will all be linked in the description again, but we have a bunch of servers. As you can see, there's loads of stuff. Brave Search, which is what we're going to use today. We have GitLab, Google Drive, Slack, Postgres, scroll down a bunch of other stuff, Perplexity, Quadrant, loads and loads and loads and loads and loads of MCP servers. So from here, the ones which we are concerned about is Brave Search. I'll open that one up. Let me close all those tabs. And then Twitter as well. So there's a Twitter one as well. Let's open that up. So this is the 2 that we need. So we'll first start out with Brave Search, and then we'll move on to Twitter. So within Brave Search here, it sent us over to this portion of GitHub where it has the features and then the tools. And so for here we only have 2 tools, but some of these MCP servers have a bunch of tools, like 10 plus. And the 2 tools that we have are Brave Web Search and Local Search. So we have to configure getting an API key first, because obviously, it's like any service, they're paying for the service that you're using, so you get a free amount, and then any more than that you have to pay. So you have to create an API key, and it's just so that so they make a bit of money, or they don't get rinsed. So let's click here, and it'll open us up to Brave Search API, and for here we want to sign up to get your 2,000 free queries. So sign up, follow the process, and verify your email. I already have an account, so I'll log in instead. And then once you log in, you will be required to get a verification code from your email. You also have to do it too when you sign up. So I'll get that code and paste that in. There we go. sorted. And so from here, on the left hand side, we can go to subscriptions. And here you're going to want to set up your first subscription, which will be probably the free one. You can obviously use base or pro, but free will get you more than enough for this specific one. Now you will have to add in your credit card or debit card details so that they have it for, if you're going to subscribe higher, but just go for that one and it'll be fine. And then if we go to API keys, here you're going to want to create an API key. I created the first one originally, just following the standard setup, and it didn't work. So then I just created a second one and it worked fine. So, up to you, but if it doesn't work, just try making it again, because I tried loads of stuff, nothing worked, but this did. So once we have this here, this is the key that we're going to want to paste in as our credential. But first, let's go back to n8n. It requires a command, an argument, and an environment, or environment variables. If we go to GitHub and scroll down, you can see that usage with Claude Desktop. Now they all say this because Claude Desktop is how MCP servers are mainly getting used, but we can use them with this community node using npx. So npx, it may have been how you've self-hosted this, so your local host n8n. I use npm, and originally I was using npx to test it out because it's so simple. But you can see here we have command, an argument, and an environment. So if we click on command, we can see we have npx. So come over here, let's put in npx. Come back over, go to args, you can see there's -y and then this at blah blah blah. Let's copy this at, and in here we'll do -y just for completeness, and then paste that in. Now, from here, this is actually a package that you have to install on your computer to use it. Because if you try to just add these in and then run it, it won't work. You have to install this as well. So just before we get the environment variable, which will be, as you can see, your API key, let's install this MCP server onto our computer so that we can then always use it. So npm install -g and then paste that in, and then that'll install it so that we can use it. So next, environment variables. For here, we want to the Brave API key, so let's copy that. And first go to expression, so you can paste that in, equals, and then get your API key from here, copy that. I'm not going to do it, but blah 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 blah, that's it there. And then if you command A, command X, you can cut it, go to fixed, paste it in here, and then save, and that'll be your new credential. I don't want it because I already have one. We'll go here, Brave search, and we'll keep that as list tools. We then want to duplicate that out, so command C, command V, and this other one we want to set as execute tool. Now, let me click out briefly just so we can take a breath for a second. We'll have our MCP client, list tools and execute tools. Now, let's change the name up here to web browser -list tools. And the reason is because your LLM is able to see this title. If you're getting errors, by the way, if you're trying to use colons and stuff, it's because ChatGPT doesn't like that kind of colons, etc. Dashes is what it works with. So we have web browser list and execute. If we open this back up, you can see that it requires a tool name and parameters. So for the parameters, let's click this, so let the model define this parameter. As for the tool name, you can have it as fixed, which is just text, or expression, which is a function, so it can change over time. We're going to have it as an expression, and we're going to do it curly braces, 2 of them, $from AI, from AI. And then in here we want to paste in the key and then the description. So for the key, we'll put as tool. For the description, we'll say selected tool to use. Oh no, not to use, to execute. It's a better one. Select tool to execute. So now we're telling the AI that the tool name, we want it to tell us the tool name. And here's our description as the selected tool you want to execute within the context of web browser execute tools. Cool. So we'll have these two added. Let's click here so we can see a bit better. And then let's ask a question. So we'll say something where it will have to search the internet. Let's say, what's the latest AI news today. So the AI agent goes out of memory, nothing there. The model thinks, and then, or talks itself, then goes out the web browser. You can see here that it's failed. Don't worry about that. It does often fail, and often fails in the first try. Now the reason is because it's using natural language, so it probably guessed the tool name wrong, which it can often do. So if we open it up, you can see that it's successfully completed. If we go to output 1, again, if you don't know what I'm looking at here, you can have a Google if you want, but come and join the school community where we can help each other learn about this stuff. I have a course completely covering the n8n stuff. Again, free for 7 days, so join it, and I'll see you there. Failed to execute operation, it just guessed the wrong tool. But then the error was, here are the available tools, and then it went and used that instead. So in the second run, it ran it with this new tool, which you can see here, and then boom, this is a response, which you can see comes from the internet, from Brave Search. Here are some of the latest news articles. Ta-da! Let's click on one and see. Opens up. Oof. The Guardian. 18th of March. Pretty new, pretty new. That's actually today, so perfect. Right, let's shut that down. So we now know that it can connect to the internet. Now we want it to be able to say, leverage this information, this knowledge, and post on Twitter about it. So let's copy these and paste them out, because any MCP client that we're using roughly have the same structure of list and execute. You do get extra operations, like if we open up one, you can see operation. There are loads of things it can do, or a few. List resources, read resources, etc. But most of the time you're just going to be listing and executing tools. And so let's change this to Twitter X, just because, so that it definitely knows what we're talking about, no matter the context. And we'll rename that one to this, Command C. Then we'll rename this one to the same thing except execute tools. Rename that. Cool. So the difference now is that we need another credential. So within here, Twitter, I have the credential already. But if you were to create a new one, again, command, arguments, environments, and it's a similar type of thing. So if we come back here, Twitter MCP server, so this is the other one that we opened up. Now, don't be alarmed, sometimes they don't come. So if you look up the top here, top left, this is under the Model Context Protocol servers. Sometimes they're not under there. Sometimes they're like open sourced ones, which are on people's personal GitHubs that they've made. So always be diligent with, what you're pasting in, etc. This could probably maybe be a bit dodgy, but just keep an eye out. Definitely use the official ones or the official-ish ones, but other ones, just be cautious. So here, quick start, we need to create a Twitter developer account and get your API keys. For me, this was a little bit of a nightmare, not going to lie, but essentially if you go to developer.x.com, and again, in the school community, I know I'm blabbing on about it, but I'll show you this exactly step by step. But roughly what it is that we want to create a project. You then want to, inside this project, you have your application. Now in your application, you want to go to this user authentication setup. You want to edit that, and you want to change it to read, write, and direct message, and then web app, automated app, or bot. And that will then give you read and write access, because by default you only get read. And so then down at the bottom here, you see it says created with read, write, and direct message permissions. Before you do that client thing, so as you can see here, before that, it's always read only. So once you've done that, you'll be able to then get these client IDs and client secrets. But then you can also regenerate this access token and secret using these new permissions. And then also you want to generate or regenerate these API keys and secrets. And then copy all these and paste them somewhere. So for me, for example, I have them on notes on my other screen so that you can't see them. But basically, you want them in the format of, or we'll show you in here. So within the quick start, the next thing is add this to your Claude desktop config file. As I said before, same kind of thing, but it's using npx. So the same thing, we just copy that and we'll do the -y. So let's go to the workflow. We'll go npx, arguments, we'll do -y, paste that in. And then environments here, we're going to want to pass in the environment variables. So you can see there's a bunch of them here. This we change how it looks. So if I go to blank page and just start typing. Also, I don't know if they keylog this. They probably do. Most websites online, they have a feature, which I found out when I was developing websites recently, which is they can see everything you're doing, pretty much. So don't paste in sensitive information here. So I'm just showing you this for example. Use a local notes or something, or Google Word or whatever, I don't know. Whatever you use. And so here, just change all of this so that instead of all looking like this, instead it looks like this. Remove that and remove that like so. And then bring that together and do the same for the next one. So just do it as an equals instead and remove the quotation marks, etc, etc. And do that for the 4 of them, and then paste in your API keys and your access tokens. And then copy that whole thing, come over here to your n8n workflow and paste it in environments. And then save, and that will be you connected, nice and easy, to Twitter. And then we can test that. So we can say now, based on the latest AI news articles, what are the top ranking English tweets? That was a bit of a way around it, but because it will bring back worldwide tweets. So before I was getting it in like French and stuff. So you can see it's gone in here now, because it's used the memory to keep track of this, and then it's gone and get the list of tools, and then it's tried to execute the tools, and it'll be trying to execute a search. Because if we look at logs here, we can see list tools, the tools that come back. So before we look at that, just briefly here, list tools, we'll zip that up. You can see these are the tools that come back: Brave Web Search and Brave Local Search for the browser one, and then Twitter. We have post tweet and search tweets, which if we go here, we can see that that's it. Like that's saying that's literally all it has. It just has post tweet and search tweets. So I imagine, as MCP servers become more and more commonplace, these will be built out to have more and more functionalities. So we can see here on the left, here are some links related to trending tweets about AI news. So let's click on them. Tweet Hunter, trending tweets. So it's kind of misunderstood what I was asking, but yeah, it sent me some links. So anyway, let me see actually instead. Just give me top performing AI tweets today, and we'll see if it does that a bit better. Because it is an AI agent, so that's why prompt engineering is so important, which is why the next thing that we're building on school is a prompt engineering course. Let's see, top performing tweets, blah, blah, blah. Let's see, I'm unable to fetch, so what's the error here? Let's click in. So the first search tweets, 2 search tweets does not exist. 5, not 10. Let me see, what's it called then? Go to list tools, search tweets. It literally is called search tweets, I don't understand. What doesn't it like? Oh, ha ha ha. Schoolboy error. So you can see here list tools is connected to Twitter, but because I copy and pasted the 2 of these over, execute tools is connected to Brave, not Twitter. Connect it to Twitter and then it will run now. So because I know it's going to run, let me just repost that message, and it will go in, it will get the tools, make sure that it's got the right ones, it will go execute the tools, probably get it wrong the first time because it's just guessed the wrong thing. Let's see how I can find trending about all tweets on AI by searching for hashtags. Right, let's see, top performing tweets, but I can find it based on hashtags. So I'll say based on the hashtag AI. I was going to say more words, but that will do it. Right, and so it's executed that. Search tweets, 2 parameters, AI, count 10, and there we go. So it has a bunch of tweets coming back, as you can see here, based on that hashtag, which is pretty cool. So I'll say based on the news and recent tweets, tweet something insightful but short, given the AI context. And we'll see what it does. So here's a short and insightful. No, wait, no. And then I'll just say, tweet it to my account. And we'll see it should go into the execute and post it. I suppose I probably should have said post instead of tweet it. Let me see what is the error this time. Execute tools does not exist, right? So it ran one time and getting an error. A way that we can try and get around this, because it often is wrong in the first run, is the AI agent, especially if you haven't prompt engineered it. So like in the AI agent, we can add a system message. It just says you're a helpful assistant. We could say you write tweets and give it some extra context. But if we do retry on fail to 3 and then redo it again, then it'll have 3 tries to run. So the first time it'll run, it'll get an error message. It'll then interpret that error message and try to do it again. So this time it says tools wrong, so it goes and gets the list of tools and it will try and run it again. And there we go. So this time it has actually run successfully. So your tweet has been posted. Here's the link. Let's view a tweet. Let me see. I'll go to my profile. And there we go. Exciting times ahead in AI as we harness its power. Let's prioritize ethical guidelines and ensure tech serves humanity positively. And there you go. So that's how to turn this then into an automatic tweet generator. And obviously you can play around with changing this trigger here to be, say, on a schedule. And so we could add some system message here that then says, you know, you are an AI assistant, blah blah blah, tweet this here based on this, based on that. So basically all of the prompting that we were doing in the actual messaging, instead of having to do that, we could then have it all in this here, which is what I'm going to do next, and then I'll upload that to the school community to help out the people in there. So I hope you enjoyed. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Make sure to check out Go Login in the description below. Join the school community. It's completely free for 7 days. Let me know if you like it or not. I have a feedback category where, you know, I want to make the best community I can for people to learn AI. So I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.